After nearly 3 decades together, Hollywood's once picture-perfect couple has quietly gone their separate ways. Loughlin and Mossimo Giannulli, names that were once synonymous with red carpets, family photos, and luxury mansions, are now at the center of yet another headline. But this time, it isn't about scandal, prison sentences, or a comeback role on television. It's about the collapse of a marriage that seemed unshakable. Until now. Because the question everyone is asking isn't just why they split, it's why they split now, after surviving one of the most humiliating scandals in Hollywood history. It's official. Loughlin and Mossimo Giannulli are no longer living under the same roof. After nearly 28 years of marriage, the couple has quietly separated. According to Lori's representative, the two are taking a break from their marriage, with no divorce papers filed just yet. For longtime fans, this came as a shock. After all, if they could survive the college admissions scandal, the public shame, the prison sentences, the endless tabloid headlines, what could possibly push them apart now? That's what has everyone talking. And while the statement made it sound like a calm, mutual decision, the timing tells a different story. Just months before the split was confirmed, the couple put their sprawling Hidden Hills mansion on the market for $16.5 million. Looking back, it's clear that the cracks were already forming. But this separation is about more than just selling a house or moving into separate spaces. For Lori and Mossimo, it's the unraveling of a decades-long partnership that was once considered unshakable. Back in February, long before anyone knew the marriage was unraveling, Lori and Mossimo quietly listed their 11,800 square foot mansion in Hidden Hills for a jaw-dropping $16.5 million. On paper, it looked like just another real estate move. Celebrities buy and sell homes all the time. But in hindsight, that listing may have been the first real sign that something was off. The couple had purchased the mansion in 2020 for $9.5 million, right after their release from prison. At the time, it seemed like a fresh start, a new chapter for a family desperate to put their troubles behind them. The house was supposed to symbolize survival, proof that even after humiliation and jail time, they could still live in luxury. But less than 5 years later, they were ready to let it go. And when Hollywood couples sell off the very homes that once represented their unity, it usually means one thing: something inside the marriage is starting to collapse. The sale of that house wasn't just a financial transaction. It was a red flag, a quiet signal to the world that the life Lori and Mossimo had fought to rebuild might not be as picture-perfect as it seemed. To understand why this split hit so hard, you have to go back to the moment everything began to unravel for Lori and Mossimo. In 2019, the couple became the faces of one of the biggest scandals in Hollywood history, the college admissions scheme. Prosecutors accused them of paying $500,000 to secure their daughters, Olivia, Jade, and Isabella, a spot at the University of Southern California. The girls were falsely presented as recruits for the crew team, even though neither had ever rode a day in their lives. The news sent shockwaves through Hollywood. Fans who once saw Lori as America's sweetheart from Full House suddenly watched her name being dragged across every headline. The scandal didn't just tarnish her image, it turned her entire family into a punchline. By 2020, Lori and Mossimo pleaded guilty to wire and mail fraud. The sentences came swiftly. Lori served 2 months behind bars, while Mossimo faced a 5-month term. For a couple that had built their brand on family, glamour, and a picture-perfect life, the humiliation was brutal. And yet they appeared to survive it together. Cameras caught them arriving hand-in-hand to court, standing side by side in the face of endless public scrutiny. At the time, people thought their marriage was unbreakable. But as we now know, the aftershocks of that scandal would linger long after the headlines faded. When Lori walked out of prison in December 2020, the world wondered if she'd ever work in Hollywood again. Her once golden reputation had been shattered. But if there's one thing Hollywood loves, it's a redemption arc. And Lori wasn't about to disappear quietly. Her first step back came in 2021 with When Hope Calls, A Country Christmas, a spin-off to When Calls the Heart. It was a cautious move, a safe role for a familiar audience that still remembered her warmly, but it signaled something important. Lori wasn't giving up on her career. From there, she kept testing the waters. In 2023, she starred in the TV film Fall into Winter, and later returned in A Christmas Blessing. Each project was small, family-friendly, and carefully chosen to ease her back into the public eye without sparking backlash. But the boldest move came when Lori appeared on Curb Your Enthusiasm, playing a heightened version of herself, even poking fun at the scandal that nearly destroyed her. For some, it was proof she could laugh at her past and take ownership of her mistakes. For others, it felt like too little, too late. She even landed roles on Blue Bloods and On Call, slowly reminding casting directors that she was still a bankable actress. Yet despite these attempts, Lori's comeback never fully escaped the shadow of the scandal. Every project was measured. Every step forward met with skeptical headlines. The truth was clear. While Lori was ready to move on, the world wasn't entirely ready to forgive her. And that constant tension between rebuilding and being reminded of the past would weigh heavily on her marriage. By 2024, Lori knew she couldn't avoid the conversation forever. Her reputation was still fragile, her career carefully balancing between nostalgia and controversy. That's when she sat down for her first major interview since the scandal, a feature with First for Women magazine. But instead of diving into the details of the admissions scheme, Lori chose her words carefully. She spoke not about guilt or excuses, but about forgiveness. She admitted she wasn't one to hold grudges, explaining that she grew up in a home where mistakes didn't define you. According to her, life was too short to carry negativity, and moving forward meant learning to forgive and be forgiven. For some fans, it was the vulnerable side of Lori they had been waiting for. Here was the actress finally acknowledging her humanity, admitting to flaws, and focusing on growth. But for critics, it felt like a carefully crafted attempt at image repair, a way to soften public perception without addressing the deeper questions people still had about her role in the scandal. Still, Lori's message was clear. She wanted the world to see her as someone who persevered through hardship, rather than someone defined by disgrace. She even emphasized her belief in picking yourself up after every setback, reminding readers that nobody said life was going to be a breeze. Those words struck a chord. To her supporters, it was inspirational. To her skeptics, it was another Hollywood redemption pitch. And caught in the middle of all of it was her marriage, already stretched thin, and now under the weight of rebuilding a public image that refused to let go of the past. From the outside, Lori and Mossimo always seemed united. They walked into court together, stood by side as the cameras flashed, and publicly presented a front of solidarity. But behind closed doors, insiders suggest the reality may have been very different. The admissions scandal didn't just damage their public image, it reportedly left deep scars on their relationship. Friends close to the couple have whispered for years that the ordeal sparked endless arguments. Who was to blame? Who made the final call to pay the so-called fixer? And more importantly, who would bear the brunt of the fallout once the world turned against them? Some reports claim Mossimo struggled with anger and frustration, while Lori, always the face of family-friendly television, carried the heavier weight of public humiliation. The prison sentences may have been short, but the emotional toll lingered far longer. Rebuilding trust in Hollywood was one thing, rebuilding trust at home was another. Even after their release, rumors followed them. Did they truly forgive each other for the decisions that led them down that path? Or was the marriage quietly crumbling under the surface while they tried to convince the world otherwise? By the time they sold their mansion and began living apart, many fans began to wonder if the scandal had simply delayed the inevitable. Because sometimes the most dangerous cracks are the ones hidden behind polished smiles. Through every headline, every court date, and now their parents split, there have been two people caught in the middle of it all: Olivia Jade and Isabella Giannulli. The scandal first dragged them into the spotlight in 2019, when prosecutors revealed they had been falsely labeled as rowing recruits to secure their spots at USC. Overnight, their names were everywhere. Olivia Jade, who was already building a successful YouTube channel and influencer career, saw her world crumble. She lost brand deals, was relentlessly mocked online, and for months disappeared from social media altogether. Isabella, the quieter of the two, largely stayed out of the public eye, but the shame still followed her. Years later, Olivia Jade staged her own comeback, returning to YouTube with videos addressing her journey, her mistakes, and how she was trying to rebuild. She even competed on Dancing with the Stars in 2021, proving she wasn't going to fade away quietly. Isabella, however, has chosen a much more private path, rarely stepping into the spotlight since the scandal. Now, with their parents separating, questions swirled once again. How are Olivia and Isabella handling yet another family upheaval? While insiders say both daughters remain close to Lori, it's clear the public attention has never fully gone away. For Olivia especially, every new headline about her parents risks pulling her back into a storm she's been trying to escape for years. The truth is, Olivia and Isabella never asked to be at the center of a Hollywood scandal, and yet their lives keep being reshaped by it. First, it was USC, then prison, and now the breakdown of their parents' marriage. After nearly 3 decades together, Loughlin and Mossimo Giannulli now stand at a crossroads. Sources close to the couple insist that while they're separated, neither has taken the official step toward divorce. That leaves the door wide open. Is this just a cooling-off period, or the end of one of Hollywood's most talked-about marriages? For Lori, the future seems focused on rebuilding her career. She's slowly carved her way back into TV roles, dipping her toes into both family-friendly dramas and more self-aware projects like Curb Your Enthusiasm. It's a careful balancing act, reclaiming her image while not shying away from the scandal that changed everything. As for Mossimo, he's been keeping a lower profile since prison, staying away from the spotlight and focusing more on personal life. With the mansion sold and their marriage on pause, it's unclear if he'll resurface publicly or continue to live privately. What is clear is that the shadow of the college admissions scandal will always follow them, whether they remain together or go their separate ways. For Lori, Mossimo, and their daughters, every move forward will always be measured against that infamous past. And now, with their marriage unraveling, fans are left asking, is this truly the end of their Hollywood story, or just another chapter in a saga that refuses to fade?